So I guess before we go into that, I'll tell a little bit about me. So John gave the business side, but the personal side about me. So I started Refined VA back in September. I have had virtual assistants for a couple of months now, or not a couple of months, a couple of years, not a couple of months, but anyways. A couple of years ago, and why I started with the virtual assistant for myself was because I was doing a podcast. I was working full time. I had a family, and I wanted to get better at social media content. I wanted my podcast to be better, so I hired my first video editor, and I realized just how much better my content could get. But the cool thing behind it was not just that the content got better, but the fact that I started thinking more like a CEO. Rather than, okay, I'm gonna record this and then I've gotta go then get another guest and then I've gotta do the show notes and the video editing and this, that, and the other. And then, okay, I gotta go back and get another guest and do another recording, and then everything else I got going on in my life, I could literally find the guest, hit record, upload to Google Drive, and then everything else was taken care of. And that was an awesome feeling. And so that's the thing for me that VAs really do for you. They really allow you to start being the CEO of your business, allow you to look at the greater landscape of the business versus being stuck in the day-to-day. And so after that, I ended up getting a social media manager. And then back in September, I had a couple of friends reach out asking for help, and that's where the business really started. And just a little bit more about me, and then we'll get into our exercise here, if it's up. Okay, is that I still have a full-time job. I'm a project manager at BMW Manufacturing. I've got a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. And I'm building 2 businesses right now. And so I have these VAs that are in place to help me do that. And actually last week, my family came into town to celebrate my daughter's first birthday, and I was able to place another virtual assistant with a client without even being there. So VAs are really awesome. So let's go ahead and go through the exercise. I want you to write down some of the activities that you do on a daily basis. Not brush your teeth, not wake up, get coffee, but things that you're doing for your business. So are you posting on social media? Are you having to send emails? Are you scheduling events? What are some of these things that you're constantly doing every single day? And then also, we want to take this afterwards as well, because this is a very important thing for you to do on your own. We really want to do a time audit. Right now, we're just going to kind of do a love-hate kind of list here, what makes me money, what doesn't. So now that you've listed hopefully a couple things, write a minus next to those things that are energy drainers. Things that you just really don't enjoy doing. I mean, I know John loves doing emails. I mean, he's emailing me at like midnight all the time. And I'm like, John, another email. It's like, it's novels. I mean, sometimes I think it's a love book he's trying to write me. So write the minuses next to things you don't like. Write pluses next to things that light you up. For me, I love to engage with people. Networking, well, you probably could get a VA to go network for you. It doesn't really work out too well. I would still suggest for you to do that on your own. But things that, maybe it's getting on the calls. I know April loves doing cold calls, so that's something I feel like a minus there. April, that's a plus. Obviously, it's a money maker though too. So you got to figure out the things that you love. And then next, what I want you to do is put that dollar sign. That's gonna be an important thing. A dollar sign next to the things that actually make you money. For me, social media content actually makes me money. Posting on social media. So it's something that I like to keep myself engaged in, not necessarily doing the whole thing. And then kind of as an added bonus, put a circle next to things that you often forget. With my podcast, that's one of the things I often forgot was to send out all the stuff that we created. So I was trying to hold on to that. I had my VA, like he'd do all the edits and all these great things. He'd upload them and then I'll send it to the client, or not the client, to the podcast guest. And then I'd forget. And so I finally was like, you know what? I'm gonna get him to do that. And I've had several other things that I'd be like, okay, I need to do that, I need to be involved in that, and then I'd forget. Actually, one of the scary things that I got rid of, which I actually go to the next slide. So I did this exercise for myself. And so I wrote down, content creation. So it's kind of like a love-hate relationship there, but it does make me money. And then posting content, like the physical posting, can't stand it. Again, it makes me some money. And then payroll was one of the things I just absolutely hated. But obviously having a business, you got people working for you, they kind of like to get paid. So I kind of had to still do it. And there were several other things, but like lead generation, following up with people, reaching out to people. That's something that I really don't like doing because I'm not the one to like sell necessarily. So it's something I didn't like doing, but of course it makes me money, but I miss it often. And then you can read the rest of the things. Website updates was another one that I would miss a lot, trying to update the website with the podcast. And so I listed all these things out. And then what I actually delegated was basically all the things on that list. It allowed me to actually be at a higher level, thinking more about everything. And what I found with this is that not only was my content starting to get better, but I was able to start creating more of a strategy. Because who in here has been like, I need to post something, and you have no clue what to talk about? Yeah, we've all been there. What do I talk about? Oh, I need to be on social media every single day posting, so let me just put something together real quick. And then it's just terrible. There's typos. You know, you probably have a funky selfie picture that you decided that I'm gonna throw a random quote on there, and it's not good. But when you can get somebody to be involved in that and do that day to day, that can help you be able to look at it more at a higher level view. Does this make sense for the people I'm trying to talk to? Is it actually gonna be posted on time? Because I get busy through the day too, and I wanna post at 9 a.m. and 12 p.m., but all of a sudden I had a meeting, or a fire came up at work, whatever it may have been, and now I didn't post, and now I'm not being consistent. And we all know that consistency is key. And so having a virtual assistant in place has helped me. It can help you as well to do that. Of course, you got marketing agencies. There's all sorts of ways that you could go about making sure that's done. Some of the platforms allow you to schedule ahead of time, some don't. They change it every day. So we gotta have somebody in place really to do that, or have a system for us to do that. So I got one more exercise for you to do. Who here struggles with creating content? Me? Yeah, definitely struggle with that. So I want you to get your phone out right now, and I want you to just you can take a picture of this. Obviously, it has nothing to do with me. You can just take a picture of this right here, and then later what you can do is you can go and say, learning about how to delegate tasks. Or, you know, I went to a training today to learn about how to delegate tasks, and that's something that now the people that you're working with, they're seeing that, or that you're hopefully working with, they're seeing, hey, they're doing something different, they're trying things out, they're trying to learn, they're not just about selling me, because we're all guilty of that. And not to pick on Rob, but we've seen every realtor and every house that they've sold gets a little boring. So this changes it up a little bit. And this is what we've started to do within my company, is actually create content, have it in folders so we can pull from later. So it's my family, it's the business life, it's working out, whatever it may be, and we're able to use this in different ways because of that. But going back to our exercise here, when we figure out those things that we really hate and don't make us money, those are the things that we really want to try and get rid of first. So if you're thinking about what in the world should I do, what should I get a VA for? That's what I would say you do first. Keep the money-making things, keep the things that you love, get rid of the things that you hate, but also make sure is it valuable for you? Do you need it at all? That's another thing as well. If you don't need to do it, just get rid of it. Don't pay somebody to do something that you don't need to do. So think about that as well as you're going through. But now what I want to talk to you about is how to hire a VA. Has anybody ever tried to hire a VA? Try to hire anybody? Yeah, and so the nice thing with a VA is that you can use them for a short time and then stop whenever you want. They're a contractor. But yeah, that's the bad thing, because you don't know exactly what you want. And so going through this task list here, or going through this kind of time audit, this exercise will allow you to know, what do you want? Because a virtual assistant is not an everything. We as business owners, we pick up everything. We do every single thing. We're the janitor, we're the CEO, we're the salesperson, you name it, we are doing every single thing. But virtual assistants and people here, virtually wherever, most people aren't wired like us. Most people want to do one little thing. They want to sit here and focus on this thing. They don't want to be here, be there, be there, be there, like we do. Like us entrepreneurs, we got a new idea every 2 seconds, and we want to go execute on that. Most people are not that way. And so when you're looking at hiring a virtual assistant, it's not about trying to offload every single thing, because you're not successful doing every single thing, and they're not going to be successful doing every single thing. So we want to focus in on what are some of those things, those tasks that we really don't like, that can all kind of marry together. So April mentioned a little bit, you don't want to be doing social media and admin stuff and sales, having one person do that. So maybe it's sales. Maybe there's the actual cold calling. Maybe you could do email, something like that, that's related around sales, and then doing follow-up or CRM updates, but you don't have them do social media. So when you go to look to hire your first virtual assistant, make sure that they're doing tasks that are related to each other. Not every little task, but tasks that are related to each other. Next thing, the 3 questions that I like to ask when I'm hiring is something specific about what you want them to do. So, hey, Jeff, tell me about what you've done with Facebook social media management. Now, I'm trying to hire you for social media management. So what's your experience with Facebook? All right, great. So I know I'm not hiring you because you don't know anything about it. But believe it or not, I have looked at hiring social media managers and they have no social media experience. So Jeff applied for a job, but then I said, okay, cool, he's got a resume, it shows he has social media experience because he's got a Facebook account and he's gonna be my social media manager. Jeff just said he doesn't spend time on there. He signed up for it 10 years ago and it's still got, his baby face picture on there. And that's what we want for a social media manager. So make sure you're asking very specific questions. And so, hey, tell me about your experience. What have you done inside groups? Who have you worked with? So ask these specific questions around the job that you're trying to get them to do. Next thing is communication. Communication and deadlines. How do you communicate when you have a problem? How do you communicate when you don't understand what I asked you to do? We hire people from the Philippines and they are amazing people, but they're also people pleasers. And so a lot of times you'll say, hey, I need you to do X, Y, Z. Okay. And then you come back later and like, well, hey, did you get this done? Well, I mean, I wasn't exactly sure what you meant. Why didn't you ask the question? So you have to make sure that you can understand their communication style so you can know how to lead them and delegate that work properly. But then also, how do you want to be communicated with? Do you want daily check-ins? Do you want weekly check-ins? How often are you going to meet? You need to talk about that communication. What is the expectation? Just like with my spouse, if I barely talked to her, didn't let her know that I was going to be here and I just left, she'd be kind of like, well, what's going on? Where are you at? My phone will probably be blowing up. I'd probably have to leave. Marriage emergency. But because I told her that I was going to come here, there was an expectation set. And so now she gets to deal with the 1 and 3-year-old while I'm here. But you have to set that expectation up front of the communication. But then deadlines as well. If you say, I need you to get this done, so like video editing, I need you to get this video done in an hour. If I told Michael that right now, hey, I know we're finishing up, but I want you to get this video edited in an hour, he's gonna be like, no way it's gonna happen. Yeah, he's thumbs down over there. Because that's an impossible deadline. But I at least communicated a deadline, and now we can have a conversation about, okay, what's a realistic deadline? Because on the other side, I'm not great at video editing. I don't know how long everything takes. So I'm be like, hey, Michael, you think you can get that back to me in 3 months? And he's gonna say, yeah, sure, I can. But really, he could have probably done it in 3 days. So you need to figure out deadlines as well, and how do they assess when something needs to get done. Because as well, your idea of what's important and urgent is not going to be theirs. And that goes for virtual assistants or not. What's important and urgent to you is not going to be important and urgent to them. What's something that you need done here, that expectation in your mind was not one that they knew about. So you have to communicate that and let them know those deadlines. And then third is getting work that they've done. Ask them, what have you done in the past? Show me some of the work you've done, especially if it's video editing or social media management. You can really do that. April, I'd love to hear later how you do this with the sales calls, because I think that would be interesting. It's hard to see. I guess you could do a mock sales call and stuff, but I want to hear about that later. How do you know if they're actually good at that or not? I know you got people trained up, but people that want to maybe not go with you, how they do that. So keep that in the back of your mind for the question later, and I'll try and remember as well. But try and find ways that you can see the work that they've done. Because when you can see the work that they've done, you can get quality from them and know what you're gonna expect. We hired a couple of video editors recently, and so what we did is sent them a 60-second reel and said, edit this for me. Didn't give them any instructions. I wanted to see how creative they were gonna be, what they were gonna do. And it was interesting to see 10 to 15 videos come back of the people that we assessed and said, okay, they would be decent enough to maybe go then to a final interview with. And of the 15, we had, I think, 3 of them that created a different hook. They created something to make it different than just me literally just saying something for 60 seconds. We had several that literally just made it a little nicer, maybe a couple zooms, but left the whole video at 60 seconds. And then we had some people that really cut it down to 15 seconds, made it really interesting and engaging. And so there's all sorts of ways you can do it, but I was able to find out who is this person, what are they like, are we gonna be compatible? Because if they made videos similar to what I would like, then that'd be great. And then also let me know that if they were making videos very similar to what I have on social media already, they're doing their research too. So you're able to look at their past content, and then maybe with video editing, you could also ask them about that. So those are the 3 questions I like to ask when it comes to hiring. As far as places you can go, where I go personally, and we go to some other places as well, but where I started was onlinejobs.ph. So onlinejobs.ph is a platform basically kind of like an Indeed out there, if you will, where you can post a job description of what you want, the salary range you want, and then you can then get flooded with hundreds of applicants. I've done that a lot, and that's why I hired my recruiter, because I got tired of doing that. Got tired of sifting through hundreds of applications. Got tired of then having to try and interview a bunch of people while I've got kids, while I've got the 9 to 5. And so I hired that out. And really the scariest thing that I actually delegated was payroll. I mean, think about that. That's something that everybody wants their money. And now I had to delegate out something that was really scary. Something that, one, as far as the business owner, now this person knows what everybody's getting paid. So are they gonna tell everybody? Are they gonna get mad because they're not getting paid the most? Are they gonna do it wrong? Are they gonna steal money from me? And so there's a lot of things that came with that, but at the end of the day, when it comes to hiring anybody, but especially virtual assistants, you have to have trust. You have to trust that they're gonna do the right thing. Trust but verify, but still trust that they're gonna do the right thing, and be willing to empower them with that task. Not just say, here it is, and then you micromanage, but actually empowering them with that task. Watching over it, looking at it, putting systems in place to make sure you do checks. So you want to do that, but then again, going back to what we talked about, doing one thing, that's why as well, we want to do that one thing. So we know what they're doing, because if we don't know what they're doing, we can't track the results. How do we know they're doing a good job? How do we know they're doing anything? And I've had that happen to me before, where I had a social media manager and she was just kind of doing some stuff, and I just kind of let her go. I was like, oh, things are kind of happening, but I was paying her for 40 hours a week and she was probably only working 4. But I was still getting the content done. It wasn't that great, but then I started tracking more and looking at that more. So when you're looking at hiring somebody, make sure you're asking those good questions. Make sure that you have a specific task in mind or set of tasks in mind. They're going to be all related.